Welcome to week 4 of our climate action course. This week we will learn about the effects of climate change on nature, along with the effects of climate change on the oceans, glaciers, and polar ice caps. Climate change also impacts various endangered species. Let's begin by understanding the effects of climate change on nature. Climate change is one of the most pressing environmental issues of our time, and its effects on nature are profound and far-reaching. One of the most significant effects of climate change on nature is the disruption of ecosystems. Ecosystems are complex, interconnected communities of organisms and their physical environments. They rely on a delicate balance of temperature, rainfall, and other climate-related factors to function properly. As temperatures rise due to the climate change, many ecosystems are thrown out of balance. Let us pause and discuss the following question. Do you believe that raising awareness about the effects of climate change can lead to more sustainable practices? Why or why not? Climate change disrupts these ecosystems in several ways. Shifts in species distribution. As temperatures rise, some species may struggle to survive in their current habitats and may need to move to cooler areas. Conversely, species adapted to warmer conditions may expand their ranges. This can lead to competition for resources and changes in predator-prey relationships. Adelie penguins rely on sea ice as a platform for breeding and foraging for food. However, as temperatures rise, sea ice melts earlier and forms later on in the year, which reduces the penguins' access to their breeding and foraging grounds when they need it. This forces them to travel longer distances to find food, which can result in lower chick survival rates and overall population decline. The changing climate is threatening the Adelie penguin's way of life in Antarctica and underscores how even species in the most remote regions of the planet are not immune to the effects of global warming. Increased wildfires. Climate change also contributes to more frequent and severe wildfires. Higher temperatures and prolonged droughts create ideal conditions for wildfires to spread. These fires can devastate entire ecosystems, destroying plant life and the habitats of many species. For instance, Australia experienced catastrophic wildfires in 2019-2020, known as the Black Summer. These fires killed or displaced billions of animals, altered landscapes, and had long-lasting effects on the ecosystem. Changing precipitation patterns. Droughts. Climate change can alter precipitation patterns, leading to more frequent and severe droughts in some areas. This can have devastating effects on land ecosystems, particularly in arid and semi-arid regions. Floods. Conversely, some regions may experience more intense rainfall events, leading to flooding. This can disrupt ecosystems by washing away topsoil, eroding habitats, and drowning plant and animal populations. Altered plant growth. Rising temperatures can affect the timing of plant growth and flowering. Many plants rely on specific temperature cues to initiate growth and reproduction. With changing temperatures, some species may flower earlier or later than usual, disrupting the relationships between plants and pollinators. Impact on soil. Soil is a critical component of land ecosystems, and climate change can influence its health and composition. Increased rainfall intensity and changes in precipitation patterns can lead to soil erosion, which can degrade the quality of soil and impact plant growth. For example, in parts of the Amazon rainforest, heavy rainfall has led to soil erosion, threatening the stability of the ecosystem. Let us pause and discuss the following question. How can understanding the interconnections between ecosystems and climate change influence our approach to environmental conservation? Climate change is having profound effects on land ecosystems around the world. These effects include rising temperatures, changing precipitation patterns, altered habitats, impacts on soil health, and disruptions to plant and animal relationships. It is crucial for students to understand these consequences because land ecosystems provide essential services such as clean air and water and support biodiversity. Let us now discuss the impact of climate change on the oceans, glaciers, and polar ice caps. The Earth's oceans play a pivotal role in regulating our planet's climate. They absorb vast amounts of heat and carbon dioxide, providing a habitat for countless marine species. However, as global temperatures rise due to human activities, like burning fossil fuels and deforestation, the oceans are experiencing several significant impacts. Ocean acidification. In addition to temperature rise, another critical consequence of climate change is ocean acidification. The absorption of excess atmospheric CO2 by seawater makes the water more acidic. This change in ocean chemistry has detrimental effects on marine life, particularly on organisms with calcium carbonate shells or skeletons such as corals. As ocean waters become more acidic, it becomes increasingly difficult for these organisms to build and maintain their protective structures, which disrupts marine food chains and ecosystems. Rising sea levels. One of the most visible and immediate effects of climate change on the seas is the rise in sea levels. The primary driver of sea level rise is the thermal expansion of seawater as it warms. Melting glaciers and polar ice caps also contribute significantly to this phenomenon. Rising sea levels have far-reaching consequences for coastal communities as they lead to increased coastal erosion, more frequent and severe flooding, and the displacement of people from vulnerable coastal areas. In the Maldives, a low-lying island nation in the Indian Ocean, rising sea levels are already forcing some residents to abandon their homes as they are gradually submerged by seawater. Let us pause and discuss the following question. How do you think the changes in ocean temperature and acidity levels might impact marine life in different regions of the world? Melting of glaciers, glacier retreat. Glaciers are massive bodies of ice that form over many years in cold regions of the world. Climate change is causing glaciers to melt at an alarming rate, with profound consequences for both environment and human societies. Rising temperatures have caused glaciers around the world to retreat, meaning they are shrinking and thinning. This contributes to rising sea levels, affecting the availability of fresh water in many regions. Polar ice caps. The polar ice caps located in the Arctic, North Pole, and Antarctica, South Pole, are critical components of Earth's climate system. They are also among the most vulnerable to the effects of climate change. Arctic sea ice loss. The Arctic is warming at twice the global average, leading to the rapid loss of sea ice. This affects polar bears, seals, and indigenous communities that rely on the ice for their way of life. Antarctic ice sheet melting. Antarctica contains the largest volume of freshwater ice on Earth. As it melts, it contributes to rising sea levels. Let's talk about the animals that are threatened by climate change. Coral reefs. Coral reefs, home to a vast array of marine species, are highly sensitive to changes in sea temperature and acidity. When sea temperatures rise, coral expel the symbiotic algae that provide them with essential nutrients, a process known as coral bleaching. This weakens the corals and makes them more susceptible to disease. Prolonged bleaching events can lead to the death of entire reef systems, impacting countless species that rely on them for shelter and sustenance. Koalas. Native to Australia, koalas are particularly vulnerable to climate change-induced wildfires and extreme heat waves. Habitat loss and decreased food availability exacerbate their plight. Polar bears. The polar bear is one of the species most threatened by climate change. These magnificent creatures rely on sea ice to hunt seals, their primary food source. However, as the Arctic sea ice continues to melt at an alarming rate due to rising temperatures, polar bears are facing severe challenges. They travel longer distances to find food, resulting in increased energy expenditure and reduced survival rates, particularly among cubs. The loss of their sea ice habitat also makes them more vulnerable to starvation and human conflicts. Climate change is a serious threat to biodiversity, harming many species across the world. The consequences range from famous polar bears struggling to find food on melting Arctic ice to coral reefs experiencing major bleaching incidents. These previous instances provide a look into the ecological disturbance produced by climate change. Protecting ecosystems, lowering greenhouse gas emissions, and promoting awareness are all critical parts of the answer. We must recognize that combating climate change is equally a battle to preserve the wonderful fabric of life on Earth. With this, we have reached the end of this session. We will meet again next week for yet another exciting session. Till then, have a good week. Thank you.